It's August 2025 and Moose Jaw's real estate market is moving. So depending on who you are, this could mean an absolute train wreck waiting to happen, or this could be the perfect storm and you could capitalize on a really good real estate opportunity here in Moose Jaw. Benchmark prices are up 14% this year in Moose Jaw alone, and sales are down. So what does that mean? In this video, we're going to break down the data, break down the numbers so that you have a good understanding of what's going on in our market. And whether you're a buyer, a seller, a renter, or someone who's just generally interested in real estate in Moose Jaw, this video is going to tell you everything you need to know. We're also going to look at the end at one wild stat that most agents don't look at when we're looking at writing an offer or receiving an offer. That's going to really help you know if this is a fair offer or not. So stay till the end because you don't want to miss that. I use all the time with my buyers and sellers when we look at the data because we want to work off numbers. We don't want to work off feelings. So without further ado, let's get into the numbers for Saskatchewan. Prices surge continues as July smashes record sales. What an epic title. Okay, let's check it out. This is obviously the data for July 2025. We're looking at past month, even though this is our August 2025 report. So let's see what's going on. Some interesting stuff. Saskatchewan's on a hot streak, according to whoever wrote this article. July having 1,851 sales across the province. We're up 11% year over year and 30% on our long-term 10-year trends, which is crazy. So where are my people at that are waiting for the price drop, waiting for the crash? You've been waiting for 10 years? We're up 30%. Shoot. Okay, that's one of the things we hear. Should we wait? Price is going to go down. When you look at this, in the last year, we're up 11%. In the last 10 years, we're up 30%. So if I was a betting man, I mean, like, yeah, we get dips. Like it happens, you know, buy the dip. That's what they say, right? Chip dip. And so we get dips, that happens. But if you look at the trends, you look at what's going on, just look at a housing graph for the past however many years, it just goes up. So if you're thinking about buying, I mean, like, you know, no time like the present. But I'm a real estate agent, so we always say that. But you look at the data, we're going to get into this video and you can kind of see what you think. This is for Saskatchewan. So for my Saskatchewan people that follow along, thanks for being here. We're going to get into Moose Jaw in a little bit, but we're going to start with Saskatchewan. So what's going on? Okay, we got, you can read this. Saskatchewan's housing market continues to benefit from a strong and growing economy. We got record population growth and the lowest unemployment rate in the country. Now, that's fantastic. That's awesome. We honestly, though, we hear that a lot about Saskatchewan. So I don't think that's going to like blow any of your minds. That's kind of what we are in Saskatchewan. We have low unemployment rates. We got strong economy. That's fantastic. I'm sure there's things you could complain about, but looking pretty good. Our market is consistently surpassing expectations and outpacing many other across the nations with a strong start to 2025 and a record-breaking sales month in July. Okay, 25 consecutive months of above average sales. So that's a crazy streak. 25 months. That's over a year of over 2 years of consecutive above average sales. Drives prices up. Prices are going up, as you could tell. Here's the thing. All this stuff, blah, 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 but we need to keep building more, faster, if we want to maintain affordability. And that's just that natural progression is like, as people grow in their lives, like they buy their starter home and they sell that home and they move to a new home. And if we're not building, that's problematic. We have a pretty strong building rate across Saskatchewan. One thing that's interesting in Moose Jaw is we don't really have a lot of new construction. We have, a couple builders out there building some homes and that's all good. But if you look around, you drive through new developments, there's not a lot of new construction going on. I drove past the lots on South Hill not that long ago and I haven't seen any digging yet. I don't know if they are, but if there's any, there's nothing really going on. Those lots have been a sale for a while and no one's building. So I think just personally, Moose Jaw, we need to do more building, but what do I know? Anyways, let's look at this. So total residential for Saskatchewan, we're up 8.1% on the year. We are, I'm just going to move this over. Sorry. So I can draw. Okay, here. Oh, that's not what I want. I want my drawing thing. Sorry. Yeah, okay. I'm not going to draw because apparently I don't know how. Oh, here we go. Okay, here we go. Ready? There we go. Total residential benchmark price, $372,700. We're up 8.1% on the year. That is some crazy data. Obviously, you can see this arrow is trending up. Okay, that's a lot going on. Okay, when we got this many sales in Saskatchewan, this many new listings, so most of those are selling. When we look at our new listings coming in, we're getting our sales, and our inventory is 5,000. So 2.82 months of supply. Our monthly trend is down. Our supply is going down, drives our prices up. Okay, that's kind of what we're seeing. Here's some data. I'm not going to talk about this specifically. Okay, you can see even in Saskatchewan, we are primarily a detached market. So there's some condos and some townhouses, apartments, whatever, but especially in Moose Jaw, a really strong detached market. You can see, the trends here. Okay, months of supply, our monthly supply trend. As you can see, it's decreasing. So you just look at the years, right? We saw a big decrease here in 2020, and now we're just down, and we're going even lower. If you look at this, it's like we went back up and then we're going back down. And then our benchmark price. So obviously as our supply drops, you see this cross, okay? Sorry, I want to circle it. You see the cross, and then you see our benchmark price just goes up and our supply goes down. So it's just literally supply and demand. For anyone that understands that, it's pretty straightforward. That's what's going on. Regional highlights, blah, blah, blah. Okay, we're not going to really look at that because we're going to break into those. But for those of you that are interested, you can pause it here. You can see this. If you want to see this entire report, send me a comment. I can send you this entire report. You can read through it. You can have it. You can look at it. But when we look here, this is kind of where some stuff gets interesting. Okay, our benchmark prices in Saskatchewan and in Moose Jaw. So here's Saskatoon. Okay, benchmark price is $435,000, 7% year on year. Okay, Regina, kind of looking at the big centers, $343,000, 7.8% year on year. And then my Moose Jaw people, Holla, we're at $281,700. So we're still up from last month. We're at 13%, basically 14% this year, which is crazy. When we look at all of these, we can see that Saskatoon's our most expensive market. Well, actually, yeah, Saskatoon bigger, I guess. Okay, that's our most expensive market. Makes sense. Then Regina's kind of next. And then we have Moose Jaw coming in, and then, kind of trickles down from there. So we are, I guess you could say, debatably in one of the third most expensive centers in Moose Jaw. But yeah, Saskatoon's obviously where, bring your money. Okay. Anyways, so we're up. You can see these 8 communities report double-digit price gains. Okay. We did other notable gains. Moose Jaw did get noted, so we are up. Our market's moving up. Okay. So that's kind of our Saskatchewan breakdown. Like I said, if you want to see that report, let me know. Happy to help you. Let's look at Moose Jaw now. This is just Moose Jaw. So Moose Jaw market, we're looking at 71 sales in Moose Jaw for the month of July. You can see primarily detached market. There's a couple other things going on. We got some apartment action right here in July. We got some row townhouses. We got some detached. Okay, all good. We're up at 281,700. That's 13.8 or 14% on the year, which is crazy. We got 98 new listings in July. That's up. So we're getting more listings, which is great, but our inventory is still going down. Even though we're getting more listings, we can't keep up. Especially those really popular properties, when they are coming out, they're selling. I say this to clients all the time. They're like, there's nothing out there to buy. What do I buy? It's honestly you just watch your Realtor.ca or your app. We can set you up with an app. So if you want to get an app set up, call me, we'll set it up, and it just fires you listings. Okay. So you get your listing, you just watch that puppy. And then when the right house comes up, you got to go see it and you got to go write that offer. We had a house that a client is looking for quite a while. This house popped up. We went to it. I was writing the offer in the car before he even got there, before he even looked at the house, because it's we've been waiting, and we knew this was the house that we needed, multiple offer situation. We got 3 other competing offers. What can we do to get this thing? We ended up winning it, which was awesome. Big client win. But it's just tough, right? You got to act fast. And when the right property pops up, you got to go see it, because there's other people that are waiting for it to pop up as well. If you're looking at stuff that's been there, especially in Moose Jaw right now, seller's market, if it's sitting, there's a reason. And guess what the reason is? Every seller doesn't want to hear it, but you're overpriced. That's probably what it is. Or your house is just a wreck. Okay. But for the most part, it's typically you're overpriced. And maybe your agent told you that. So maybe I'm helping you out. But anyways, that's kind of what it comes down to, is sometimes we just need a price adjustment. There are other unique situations where, hey, we just need more time, or, we need to do a repair or something. But especially in this market, everything's selling. It's just if you price it right, it's going to sell. That's the biggest thing right now. Seller's tip. Inventory, we got 141 in inventory right now, which is still down. And then we have 1.9 months of supply. So this is low, we're basically 2 months of supply. It was up a little and it's down a little, and now we're kind of back down. So be nice to see that go up. Be nice to get some more inventory. What we're looking at here, and this is the one that you guys care about, this is the one that we always want to talk about, is, so you can see our sales, our new listings, inventory, we just talked about that. But the one we want to talk about is days on market. So in Moose Jaw, we're 37 days on market on average. But like I said, those really good properties, they're selling day 1, 2, 3. They're selling in a weekend. And that's really important to note. So it doesn't mean that if there's this nicely renovated house in Palliser that comes up, oh, I got 37 days to go see it. That house is sold today. You know what I mean? You got to go today. But That's just something to be aware of. Okay, so that's really good. 37 days on market on average. It's pretty quick time turnaround for all the houses in Moose Jaw when we collect that data. 10-year average, it was for July 2025, yeah, 44 days. So where is this? Yeah, okay, here's 10-year average, 54. So that's like a little bit more like, okay, yeah, like when we look back, the average days on market was 54. You can see that this is sped up, things are going, okay? Not going to talk about that. Very similar to what we saw on our graph for all of Saskatchewan. Obviously, as our month of supply goes down, our price goes up, and you can see we're working our way up, almost at that $300,000 mark. Okay, detached pricing, benchmark. You can pause the video if you want to see these. Here's the benchmark attributes. So some of you don't even know what a benchmark is. Benchmark is the typical home that sells in Moose Jaw. And it kind of takes out any outliers. Like if you have a really unique home that sells like way above the average home price, this is looking at what's the typical home in Moose Jaw look like and what does it sell for. Okay, so this is what SRA has determined is the typical home in Moose Jaw. It has 3 bedrooms above ground. It has 2 bathrooms. It has a single garage. It's approximately 1,100 square feet. It's approximately built in 1963. And the benchmark price is $281. Okay, so there's some variance between those. And when we look at our neighborhoods, you'll be able to see that on the attributes. But this is kind of what they're saying is the typical home in Moose Jaw. And that's what we call our benchmark data. So the typical home in Moose Jaw sells for $280,000. Okay, just average. Anyways, some more stuff in there. Okay, we're not going to go into this. It's so many numbers. Okay, put that into ChatGPT and it will tell you what you need to know. Okay, let's look at neighborhoods. Okay, so Moose Jaw neighborhoods. So first, before we even look at neighborhoods, let's look at what these neighborhoods even are. First, we have up here. I get my pen out. I love the pen. This is awesome. I'm legit now. Okay, so first neighborhood here, this is called Sunningdale VLA. And so it can kind of combine some different neighborhoods because we have Iron Bridge, which is mixed in there. It's a higher end, more expensive neighborhood. Like this is like Iron Bridge Estates. We like building luxury by the railroad in Moose Jaw. That's just what we do. So Iron Bridge over here, boom. That's going to put our benchmark price up. That's number one thing. Some bit like I think minimum you can build in Iron Bridge is under 1,500 square feet. So there's some absolute paths out there. Luxury live in Moose Jaw. Okay, then we have West Park new development. When you drive in, there's a sign. It's starting in the 500s. Okay, so that's kind of what you're getting in West Park. You're getting new construction. You kind of started building here around 2010 and up. But yeah, you're starting in the 500s basically. The odd time you'll squeak one that's a little bit below, but is what it is. Okay, and then we got VLA. VLA is our Veterans Land Act lots. These are the big boys. Big lots over here. Lots of people want to be here for a big lot. Really nice houses in there as well. And then we have our Sunningdale area, which is kind of built, more that like 1980 to 2010 area, kind of the farther back you go. So fun fact about Sunningdale, all the crescents are named after flowers. Don't know if you knew that. So, but as you go back, they kind of started building here and here. And then as we go around, it kind of gets newer. This is kind of newer over here, but they just kind of built that way. So that's Sunningdale. So this is our Sunningdale VLA neighborhood. Then we get to Palliser. Let's backtrack a little. Let's go to Central. Central, we kind of built Moose Jaw from Main Street out. You're looking at a lot of character homes here, older stuff, 1910, all that kind of stuff. Hillcrest, kind of a mix. We have some old stuff in here. And then kind of as we get out here, we have some newer stuff, but not new, kind of like, 50s, 60s. And then as we get over here, we get into Palliser on the other side of 9th, and we got a lot of like 1950 builds, 60 builds, some 70s stuff up here. So kind of like that age range there. So we kind of built from the center out. And then we also built Westmount, Westmount. People in Moose Jaw call it South Hill. We kind of built South Hill around the same time that we were building Palliser. So you have a lot of like 1950s, 60s, 70s homes in here. There's some wartime homes in here, so it's a little bit of a mix. And then we got West Heath, which is our new area where our new school is going and all that exciting stuff. And so, yeah, we're going to talk about these neighborhoods. I do have, and I'm going to put out a video breaking down all the Moose Jaw neighborhoods. So if you're interested in that, you want to know more about Moose Jaw neighborhoods, you should hit that subscribe button. So when that video comes out that you can see it, because it's going to be really good, because there's reasons why people want to live in Hillcrest. There's reasons why people want to live in South Hill. There's reasons why people want to live in Central, and there's reasons why people want to live in Palliser, and reasons why you want to get up here. Okay. And they're all different, and these neighborhoods are really different. So there's a lot of motivation, and it's not incentive, but reason why people might want to get into one neighborhood or the other. Okay, so subscribe for that video. Let's look at our neighborhood breakdown. Okay, so Central neighborhood, we're looking in the middle of Moose Jaw. We're looking at 14 sales this month. Average home sells for $214,000. So if you're selling, okay, that's probably about what you're going to get unless your home's above average. But that is up. We're up 13% on the year, which is great. Well, I don't know if it's great, but we're up. Great if you're a seller, I guess. Bad if you're a buyer. Okay, 21 new listings. We're up 10% on the year. Okay, Inventory is going down. We got 31 in inventory. We got 2.21 months of supply. Okay. There we go. This is what I want. Days on market, because it's important to know if you're selling in central neighborhood, your days on market on average is 49 days. Okay, so it's a little bit longer. Okay, a little bit longer than Moose Jaw. The homes there tend to sit a little bit. Average age, I don't know why they don't do this. They don't put the benchmark data in here, but it'd be nice if they did. But the average age of those homes are typically older. And just sometimes people are just a little more hesitant to get into an older home. They just come with their quirks. Okay, let's get into Hillcrest. Hillcrest, or the East End, as you might call it if you're from Moose Jaw. 15 sales, 16 new listings, 31 in inventory. Okay, we're at 176. So you can see this is a little more budget. If you're on a little bit of a tighter budget, this is, maybe you're only pre-approved up to 200,000. East End might be where you could find your home, that you would find something you like that would meet your criteria. We do see, 11% up, so that's still up, like continuous with the trend, but your money's gonna go a little farther over here. Okay. Hillcrest. So days on market, again, 39. So not quite as many as the central neighborhood, but still getting longer. Our average in Moose Jaw is 37. So we're getting closer to that. Okay. Benchmark price, 156. There's no data to show you what those houses look like. Unfortunately, I would love if they put it in there. SRA, if you're watching this, put the data in. Okay. But we're up 19%. That's crazy on benchmark homes. Okay. So that's up. Okay. And then again, look, we're at Palliser. Okay, Palliser, hot neighborhood. People love Palliser. Everyone wants to get into Palliser. I don't know why. Well, there's reasons, but this is a really competitive neighborhood. If you're looking at buying in Palliser, you want to be in Palliser. Be prepared to, maybe be in a multiple offer situation. Be prepared to have to fight a little bit, because people want to be in this neighborhood. If that house pops up, you got to go see it. 16 sales last month. We're average benchmark price is 317,900. It's up 14% of the year. So if you're in Palliser last year, you're up 14%. Your home's going up in value, just collecting equity. Okay, inventory's down. We got 1.19 months of supply. Stuff in Palliser sells fast. Okay. Days on market below our city average at 23. So if you're selling in Palliser, you should be able to move that home in 23 days. Okay. If you're not selling your home in 23 days, guess what? 2 reasons. I don't want to say your house is garbage, but your house needs something, or it's broken, or you need to fix something, or you need to lower the price to reflect the actual value of the home. 23 days on market is quick. We're seeing a lot of these really good Palliser properties. Like if you have renovated, the windows are done, the roof is good, you got a 2-car attached garage, and it's just ready to go, turnkey, move-in ready, your house is sold in a day, couple days, 100%. Okay. With bidding. So that's something that if you have that house and you're planning on selling it, you need to get in touch with an agent that has a plan so that you can maximize your dollar. Because if you're just going to list that thing and hope for the best and you don't have a plan, you're not going to get the most money in your pocket. And we want to get the most money in your pocket. So if you have something like that and you need a plan for that, feel free to reach out. I'd be happy to help you make a plan how we can get the most amount of money in your pocket. Okay. But stuff in Palliser sells fast, especially if you have the right house. Okay, detached, same kind of days on market, but yeah. So detached home price, average detached home selling for $318,400. Here's the data. So this is what that looks like. So if you have this house, exactly this house, 3 beds, 2 baths, single detached, 1,100 square foot. This is the lot size, 1964 build, probably not renovated in this case. You're going to get about $318,000. Okay. You got some double car, fully renovated, fully updated. You might get closer. I don't want to throw numbers. You might get closer to 4. Who knows? Who knows what could happen? Okay. But we're seeing stuff sell for more than that for sure in Palliser. Okay. VLA-Sunningdale. What happens a lot is people, they want to get, they love to live in Sunningdale, or maybe their family lives in Sunningdale, but just that average benchmark price at $481,000 just taps people out. A lot of people can't afford to get into Sunningdale. So then where do they look? They typically look at Palliser, or they sometimes look at South Hill. These are 2 options to get some affordability. Before we look at Sunningdale, I want to look at South Hill first, because the homes in South Hill, there's lots of really comparable homes to Palliser. And so if you're finding you're having a hard time getting into Palliser, or you're just getting outbid or whatever, or maybe you're just tapped on that pre-approval, you might be able to find something better in South Hill. We got a brand new school going up in South Hill. It's going to be a really good neighborhood. It already is a really good neighborhood, but it's a good option for you if you're maybe struggling to get into Palliser. Okay, and here's why. Average house is going for $250,000. It's still up, 15.3%. Okay, but Average days on market, 38. Okay, so we're still in the range. So everything's kind of typical. But here, look at this. This is what your typical home in South Hill looks like. So it's maybe 2 bedrooms. So that's 1 less. And it's maybe 2 baths. So it's same garage, slightly smaller, but not much. Similar lot size, slightly smaller, actually newer. And it's going for, oh my gosh, what did I just do? And it's going for about $68,000 less. Okay, so very, very comparable home that you could score in South Hill as Palliser. And, you know, this might be a good neighborhood for you. If you're struggling to get into Palliser, you're tapped out on your pre-approval, I might be looking at South Hill. Okay, this could be a good option for you. So let's talk about Sunningdale VLA. Like we said, this is kind of a combined neighborhood. But when we look at Sunningdale VLA, what happens is people often can't get up to this pre-approval. So then what happens is they go to Palliser, they go to South Hill. But for those of you that are interested, maybe you've been living in Palliser for a while or in South Hill, you're looking for that space with the big yard, and you want the bigger house, and you want the ensuite and all those extra features that come with maybe newer construction, newer-ish construction, brand used. This might be the spot for you. Okay, 7 sales. So we got less, 12 new listings, and we only have 21 for sale. So a little bit less inventory here, but we got 3 months of supply. Okay. 38 days on market, so sitting a little bit longer. Your typical home in Sunningdale, actually detached, gets a little pricey. Over $500,000, okay? There was a day when my grandma said, you shouldn't buy a house for $500,000, too much money. But look at us now. Buying in Sunningdale for $522,100, okay? So you got a bedroom, you got 3 beds, you got 2 baths, you got a double car compared to Palliser, you got 1,400 square feet, so quite a bit bigger of a house. You got a way bigger lot, which means you probably got a bigger backyard, which is really good for your dog, because I know you all have dogs and you all want them to run in the backyard. That's what people always say. You want a fenced backyard. This is looking good. Okay. A newer construction built in 1993. Okay. $522,000, $500,000. Okay. That's what you're looking at to get into Sunningdale. So that kind of breaks down our market data here for the month of Moose Jaw, for the neighborhoods. Kind of like we said, when we look at this map, if you are maybe on a little bit of a tighter budget, getting into Central MJ or getting into Hillcrest could be good options for you. And if you're, you want to get up to 300,000, you could be looking at Palliser, you could be looking at South Hill. And if you're up, maybe approved to $500,000, you could be looking at getting to West Park, VLA, or Sunningdale. This is kind of maybe a neighborhood for that kind of a budget. Depending what you want, depending on what size of house you want, that's kind of what you're looking at. Now, keep in mind that these are all averages. It doesn't mean that a 1,400 square foot house doesn't pop up in Palliser or over here or whatever, right? That sells for that. We just had a sale in Central Moose Jaw. It was like a new construction build. It sold for like over 700,000. So of course there's these outliers or these standout situations, but when we look at the typical home, average home, or some of you like to say cookie cutter, okay? The typical home that sells in these neighborhoods, that's kind of the data for that. Now, there's one more thing I want to show you before we go, and that's that little stat that we're talking about. So one thing that I really like to look at when we're looking at, shout out to if you own Poplar Bluff, just free advertising over here. Okay. When you're looking at homes, sorry. So I'll type this out. I'll just show you kind of what I do. So I look at Moose Jaw. Oh my goodness. What are we doing? Moose Jaw. Okay. And I want to look at Moose Jaw. I want to look at stats. Okay. When we're looking at, is this a fair offer, or what should we write for an offer? What do you think this house will sell for? We're going to look at this data. Okay. And when we look at the last month, actually, let's do this custom range. Let's go July to, we can include August here, August 2025. We want to look at, and we always look at the sales price data, blah, blah, blah. The one we don't look at, and it's not our market report, is the close price to list price ratio. Okay. And we can also look at close price to original price, which is another interesting one. So when we look at that, let's look at primary year. We're going to generate this just for Moose Jaw. Okay. So when we look at Moose Jaw, the average home, looking at all the homes, sells for 96.6% of list price. Okay. So if you're writing an offer right now, and you want to know if it's a fair offer, or you want to know what they're probably going to counter you at, well, this is it. It's 96.6%, basically 97%. That's what the house is going to sell for, probably. Okay. So this is really good data. Now, if you have a house for sale and you list it at, let's say, I don't know, whatever, 300,000. Okay. Here, we'll do the math. This video is getting long. I'm sorry. Okay. You listed at 300,000. Let's do this. Okay. 300,000. And you get an offer at 290,000. Should you take it? You could counter that, I guess. 291 would be what the typical person's getting. I would say that's a pretty good offer. I would think you should take that. Unless you're going to hold out, try to get a little bit more. Maybe if you do everything right and you have a good plan and you have an agent with a good plan, you might be able to get over list, but that doesn't always happen. Okay. So you got to have a really good plan. If you got the right house and you want to get over list, you got to have an agent with a plan. So if you want to call me, talk, make a plan, happy to do that. But some people don't got plans. You got to have a plan. So when you're interviewing agents, make sure you have an agent with a plan. How are we going to get the most money in your pocket? Because that's something that not everyone talks about. Yeah, the house will sell, but how do we get the most amount of money in your pocket? That's what we really want to do. Okay. If you're a buyer and you're writing an offer, then we want to get you the best deal. Okay. How do we get this house for the best deal? Well, we would like to get it, if we're trying to buy this house, below 290,000. So how would we do that? Okay. Well, there's a strategy for that as well. So that's why we need to connect. That's why we need to make a plan. But if you are looking and you're buying or selling and you didn't even know that 97% was the number in Moose Jaw, that's key. Like that gives you really good data, because here's the catch with real estate. It gets really emotional and we start thinking with our feelings and we start saying, well, I think my house is worth this and I really like that, or, oh, I'm in love with this house, I'll pay this. But we want to look at the numbers so that we can make a good, strong offer and then we can be fair. So 25 minutes long or longer. Oh my gosh. Thank you for being here. Thank you for watching till the end. I'm sure very many of you didn't even make it this far, but I really appreciate you. So thanks for watching. If you made it this far, please like, comment, and subscribe. And if you do have real estate questions, let's have a call. Let's have a phone call. I'd love to meet you. I'd love to chat with you, and I'd love to help you accomplish your real estate goals. And hey, if you got someone else, all good, but I'll see you out there. So thanks, and we'll talk soon. Bye.